What a beautiful way to start a stream. Thank you for that amazing hype train. I'm so grateful for all your red envelopes filled with bits and gifted subscriptions. Thank you for gifting red envelopes filled with subs to the chat. If you didn't know, I am DJ Lonnie Love. I am of Vietnamese descent. I was born in the States, but my parents immigrated here from Vietnam as refugees. And for today's stream, I have a few festivities planned. First, we're going to chat with my good friend, Isabelle Du, who is Miss Vietnam USA 2007. She's also Vietnamese, obviously. But we're just going to chat a little bit, share some of our traditions around Lunar New Year. And then I have a ton of music planned for tonight. I'm going to go through some 80s Viet American New Wave, which came out of Orange County, Little Saigon, right here in Southern California. And then I'm going to play some pop music that's trending in Vietnam. And then it's going to be litter than lit, because I have you've heard sprinkles of it in my previous sets, but I have some of that new hip hop in Vietnam that's freaking fire. It's so good, and it will be funny too to see how certain styles have crossed from Atlanta to Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. That Migos flow is international now. All right. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Miss Isabelle Du. All right, so Isabelle, tell us a little bit about yourself. You speak Vietnamese really well. So I just want to know, well, I know, but can you share with the chat where you grew up, how you learned to speak so wonderfully, and share some of your experience in Vietnam too. She's actually lived there. But let's start with first how you learned the language.
Okay. Hey guys, so this is so awesome. Thanks for having me, by the way. This is so fun, just to be on the sidelines. Oh, okay. Oh, hi everyone. Should I read their names? Like Ice 67?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I'll say hi to the chat. I'll type to the chat while you chat on the mic. But real quick, levels check. Are we balanced all right? I have a little background music because I want to pay homage to classic Vietnamese music, but I also, more importantly, want you to be able to hear us. We good? Okay, cool. So take it away, Isabelle.
Hi, friends. So, my name's Isabelle Du. I've known Lonnie for 13 years now. Fellow Viet sister, hey. Vietnamese was my first language. So, I didn't speak English until I was 6. And I went to Vang Lang in San Jose. So, anybody who's 408, hey, Bay Area right here. Yes, yes. And I took, Vietnamese classes every Sunday. And then I would say my Vietnamese was still pretty elementary. I would learn how to read and write, history, geography. I would say Vang Lang was really cool because it was all volunteer run. So I give major props to Vietnamese schools they still exist to help yes. Yeah. I give major props to these Vietnamese schools because they're volunteer run and they're there to really help preserve Vietnamese culture. And I would say that language is the biggest part of what culture is, right? And then afterwards, I would say I lived in Vietnam for about 4 years. And that's when my Vietnamese got way better because, you only speak to your parents out here. But when you're in Vietnam, you get to be around your fellow peers. And then that's when I really picked up a lot of slang. And I watch a lot of Law and Order SVU, but with Vietnamese subtitles. So yeah, that's the brief story.
That's funny. It's funny because I always hear people talk about what languages they learn primarily from watching programming in another language. So my friend Estelle, who's Vietnamese French, she learned how to speak English just from watching Friends with subtitles. So inspired by the two of you, I'd want to pick a program that I could somehow watch with Vietnamese subtitles to improve my speaking ability. So for reference, I can speak well enough that I can travel with no problem. I can converse at parties, but I can't have meaningful conversations because my vocabulary is so limited. So it's like, I'm so happy, chat. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is so fun. But it's pretty much just different ways to say happy. Like, I can't express like more meaningful levels of gratitude or any, nuances to hopes, dreams, aspirations, things like that. It's more like, yo, that cookie is tasty. Thumbs up. Like, and it's funny because you brought up going to Vietnam and how that really improved your language. When I went to Vietnam, I was only there for a couple of weeks, like 2.5 weeks, but I saw a dramatic improvement in my ability to speak in such a short period of time. So my second week there, I got a little bit confident, a little cocky, and I was like, let me go get a haircut, like away from the tourist streets, like this is just for locals. And I saw this cute spot. There's all these like Gen Zers with colorful hair. There's English on the signs. So I thought they spoke English, but I was wrong. They had pulled a lot of those words from Pinterest. And so they only spoke Vietnamese, which again is fine because I can speak it, but I'm not hip. Like, I learned how to speak Vietnamese from my parents who left the country in the 70s, late 70s, 1980s when they made it here. So my vocab's very dated and limited. So it's pretty much like me being like, top of the morning to you, chip, chip, cheerio, to like a bunch of 20-year-olds. But I could at least communicate enough to get a decent haircut. I just didn't know what they were talking about when they discussed their evening plans.
I would say that that's something that I think a lot of people would not be so familiar with, is because a lot of Vietnamese people were refugees and they came here, 75, 80 and so forth. The Vietnamese that they know is kind of like pre-war language. So there's a lot of terms that have been modernized or up to date that's different, like airport, like Sung Bai is what they use in Vietnam, but here's Phi Trường or Nhà Bang for bank. It's Nhang Hang over there.
Right, and they don't use Nhà Bang. They don't use Nhà Bang anymore because a lot of the old phrases that our parents used from like the 70s and before, or 60s and before, were often borrowed from French, because Vietnam, before the big Vietnam War, the country was colonized by the French, which led to a lot of phrases like Nhà Bang, bank, borrowing from Latin languages.
My favorite word, by the way, because there isn't really a word for cheese in Vietnamese. It's phô mai. It comes from
Fromage.
fromage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it comes from like fromage, and I love j'adore le fromage. And tôi rất là thích phô mai.
And then it's so cute. So when my grandma came to the States for a little bit, like everywhere she went, she's like, I don't speak English. Do you speak French? And I was like, Grandma, no, it's only English here. And she's like, oh, Americans. But yeah, my dad went to a private school in Vietnam. And what's interesting, even though he grew up Vietnamese in Vietnam, because he went to a private school, again, during the era of colonization, his first language was French. It was taught as a primary language, and Vietnamese was taught as a second language. Yo, freaking colonizers be colonizing.
Yes. There's also, I would say there's a lot of Vietnamese people, well, okay, not a lot, but there's even some that still know Russian because of just some of the occupation there. And one of my favorite stories that my mom told me was when they went to go watch movies at the theater, they could only watch Russian movies. So they weren't allowed like American movies. And, because they're buddy in that sense. So they would watch movies in this theater, and they would have like the podium, and they would have like a translator translating the Russian movie because there's no subtitles. So it's literally somebody at the podium like translating, and they're like watching in the movie theater. And I don't know why that story just made me laugh, because I'm like, that's so interesting, like how their movie watching experiences versus like ours now, Yeah.
So a question for you. Were you always proud of being Vietnamese?
Yes, I was always proud. I think it's because I have to say it's thanks to my parents. They really ingrained it in my head from like day one. I saw myself more Vietnamese than American than anything. And for them, they were so hard on me about speaking Vietnamese at home. Like I was not allowed to speak any English at all. And if I spoke English, they wouldn't talk to me. That was what it was. So we can only speak Vietnamese, and I know some households, like the way families do it, they do it differently. Where they turn this thing off. Blowing up. I don't know what's going on, but yay. But you know, some families would only speak English at home because the parents want to be more familiar with the English language, right? Yeah. I feel like the Vietnamese experience is like categorized in one or the other. And so the kids don't get a chance to really be familiar with the language. They don't get to speak it as often. And my parents had the reverse logic where they said, you know what, she's probably going to speak English for the rest of her life. She's probably not going to get as much exposure to Vietnamese. So let's make it where she can only speak Vietnamese. So me and my sister could only speak Vietnamese. And so when I started like school, I had a very thick accent. Bless you. Bless you. I had a really thick accent. Like I actually want to like digitally transfer my VHS footage because you can hear my very thick accent. I actually sound really cute. Yeah, I sound like a cute little like nail lady, you know, but like a kid version.
Do you have boyfriend?
Yeah. I sound really cute. You just hear me talk to the other kids. And so, but then when I went to school, kids called me retarded because they're just not, they don't get it. Like, so kids called me retarded because I didn't sound as smart to them, but that's not true. Okay, I can speak 2 languages, right? So they made me go to ESL for like 2 years. And now I have kind of the opposite problem in a sense. I am fluent in Vietnamese. I can read and write. I can look over contracts if I need to. But I do have this American accent in my Vietnamese. So when I went back to Vietnam, man, I got judged for that too. No, yeah, so that's the
You're like stuck between 2 worlds.
It's this bicultural identity. I don't know if yeah. But I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, not just in our community.
Yeah.
You know, this is random, but Gentified on Netflix, if anybody watches that, I actually think they kind of like touch on that too, with that bicultural identity. Yeah. Oh, Leah, let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you. What about your Vietnamese? Like, how did you guys like? You know, how did you kind of continue with it? I know you're being modest. Okay, I know because you can actually speak conversational. I know you don't have all the vocab as you said, but like still.
Okay. So I grew up my parents were the opposite, where they were afraid I wouldn't assimilate. Their number one goal in raising me was for me to fit in. So they spoke English to me at home until I was about 10. And then they were like, you know, she's doing well in school. She's got A's in English. It doesn't seem to be an issue. Well, duh, because I'm born and raised in America. But when I was 11, they decided, let's send her to Vietnamese school now so she can learn Vietnamese. I did, but not for long. So like I feel like Chinese families are really good about holding on to their language. They send kids to Chinese school as soon as they start going to like regular school, kindergarten. But in the Vietnamese community, at least when I was growing up, like Isabelle said, it was kind of fragmented and people were still trying to navigate like this new world. So my parents tried to send me to Vietnamese school when I was 11, but as an 11-year-old, being in a classroom with 5-year-olds and being in a desk that's too small for you because you're 11 is just really humiliating. So I went for a few weeks and I was like, I remember one of the stories we had to read. It was about a flip-flop, about a sandal. It was like, "Doy yep lip sip." It was like the story we read about a flip-flop. And I was like, I am 11. I don't need to be reading stories about flip-flops. So sadly, I didn't stick to it for very long. My sister, just via osmosis, I think being around my parents a little bit longer, even through college and working at the restaurant, with a lot of Vietnamese staff, she speaks better than I do, and she can also read. My reading ability, I'm going to just go ahead and say I'm like close to illiterate, because when I travel, like I'm like, you and me sign, like I see you, but I don't see you.
But you know what? I can tell you right now, if I gave you, I think 3 months, I think you can pick it up, because what makes the Vietnamese alphabet a little bit easier is all the accents kind of direct you on how to say it. Like, so if the accent, yo sac, if it goes up, it's yosa. And then if it's nang, it's like a dot underneath. It's like, oh, you kind of make it heavy. So I feel like, I don't know, it's almost like an instructional alphabet, and there's no real conjugations. Not like English where like there's no, grammar's a lot easier.
That's a good point. So Vietnamese is a monosyllable language, or mostly monosyllable. So meaning each word is one syllable. Oh my gosh, I just explained the same definition to you like 3 times.
It's like
Mono. Okay. But the tricky part is the accents. If you're not a native speaker or you don't use it regularly, you can sound hella rusty and say something you don't mean. One example that I like to reference a lot is CA. Ga, going up. Fish. Ga, tomato. Ga, scrub. Ga, to sing. Those are all different words. Ga, 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 ga. And then if you want to say, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry you're having such a hard time, like, bang ang gukko. But if you use the wrong accent, gukko can become gukko, which means, hey friend, you're eating shit.
Yeah, well, at least we won't make that mistake, right? So smile with kindness for others who try. With your story about how you said that you were 11 and you felt like, oh, I'm too big for the desk and I'm a little bit older than these other kids. So one of my memories at Vang Lang is I remember I was probably like, so I had gone to Vietnamese school from the time I was like 6 years old all the way till like I was 13. And I remember being 12 or 13 in this class with my other fellow 12, 13-year-olds. But this 26-year-old came, like she came to our class and she sat in the desk. Yeah. And you could tell that proportionally, obviously, like she's not meant for this desk. But we all looked at her because at the time we hated Vietnamese school. At the time we're like, why are we here? Like all of our white friends don't have to go here. Like why do we have to do this every Sunday? Like we want to be playing, right? And for her, she came in, we're like, you actually want to be here? Like she actually wanted to be in Vietnamese classes. And she told us, I was just like you. I didn't want to go to Vietnamese school. I didn't really care about learning the language. But I tell you right now, when you're older, you'll understand that you'll care so much more and you'll want to know the language. And it always stuck to me. Like I wish I knew her name. I wish I knew where she was because something about it just resonated with me. And I never complained about Vietnamese school again after that because I was like, dang, like I was 12, 13, but here's a 26-year-old woman in our class who was longing to actually have that. She was trying to catch up, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah.
I also love that you were always proud to be Vietnamese. I'm obviously proud, and I feel so blessed to have been Vietnamese, but also, raised in a first world country. When I go back to Vietnam and I see the different ways I could have lived, like, there's the wealthy there, but there's also the people who are in rural villages. Like, I feel like I won a birth lottery in many ways, because you don't get to choose what life you're born into. And then even just today, my dad shared some of his immigration story with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like if I was born, a few decades earlier, what my life could have been like the struggle that our folks went through. So now as an adult, I can look back and I feel so grateful and proud. But there was a small point in time, when kids are their meanest, like middle school, high school, and they're picking on you. There were times when I was like, I just wish I was white. Like I wished that I was blonde and blue-eyed and just could fit in. But obviously that was just, stuff that happens in your younger phases. And I feel like that whole experience of being othered in some ways made me so much stronger. I'm okay being counterculture or whatever. And, now it's funny because all the things that we got picked on for as kids are cool now.
I know, now it's on trend. It's like, yeah, but okay. But some of the stuff is come on, there's a banh mi salad at Veggie Grill.
It can't be a salad.
It cannot be a salad because banh mi literally means bread. And it's literally a banh mi salad and there was no banh mi in it. I'm like, this is a joke, but okay. That wasn't neither here nor there. But I was going to say, I've always been very proud about being Vietnamese. However, I will say there was a time when I wanted to so badly, like I just loved being complimented for looking like a mix. There was a time that I like really like.
It was like fetish size.
Yeah, I wish it was fetish size.
Like whiteness was held as like,
Yes.
the standard for beauty. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would get a lot of comments all the time. I still do to this day, where people are like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Are you mixed? Are you half? Are you Hapa?" And before I'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not. But thank you." And they're like, and now I realize, obviously, it's not people's intentions. They're not being malicious by any means. I think it just comes out of a place of like maybe they're not familiar or a little bit ignorant. But now I realize when you say that, it almost feels like, oh, my beauty can only be as such with the association of white beauty by white standards. Somehow I'm being mixed, like I get to give white people credit for this, but no. This is on my mom and dad. You can look at photos of my mom and dad and they are Vietnamese and a little bit Chinese, but I don't, was raised more Vietnamese. That's a whole nother story. Okay.
Chat, have you guys done any of the DNA tests? Just want to know. Have you done like the 23andMe's or Ancestry? And if so, were you surprised by your results? Have you done it?
No, I kind of refuse to actually, because I don't want to prove. Because first of all, when you're Asian, they should be paying us. They should be paying us, yeah, to grow their sample. They should be paying us, okay? So 23andMe, you can call us if you want this DNA in your samples, thing. Because what I've seen, I don't know about your friends, but everyone's getting 100% Asian. It's like, okay, like, it's a scam. It's like, maybe if you're like Midang, maybe.
All right, well, 23andMe, reach out for sponsorship opportunities at any time. I've taken it and I expected my results. Granted, it can change as the sample grows more. I was expecting it to be more interesting or because, a lot of my friends were surprised by their results. My black, my white, even my Japanese and Korean friends all got surprising results. But I got 84% Vietnamese. I was like, wow.
Wait, you did it?
Yeah, I did it. I got 84% Vietnamese and I'm like 99.9% Asian. Like the other parts just like, I think they mark it as, Chinese or Southeast Asian or something. So
see, they don't even know.
They don't even know. But
you could pay me. I'm kidding.
all right, so let's tell the chat about Lunar New Year traditions. I have a couple things. I don't have everything, but one of them obviously is our friend here in the corner, Lion Dancer, which you saw on the opening screen.
Should I get my puppet?
Yes, get your puppet. So, red envelopes, as you know, is often gifted to kids, kind of the way that you give gifts during Christmas, except this is really just for kids or the younger generation. And what's nice about it is, you don't have to worry about looking for gifts. You can just give people money. Give me your money. But also, it's often used as a way to help support a family that maybe doesn't have as many resources as they need, but without possibly seeming condescending. You just gift the kids money towards, just say like, oh, it's for your schooling or whatever. So it's a very nice way to support family, your community, is with red envelopes. Oh my gosh. That's so cute. An eccentric whale, thank you for gifting subs throughout all of this. I really appreciate it. It's So Yetung. Oh, do you want to use the Ao Yai cam? Yes. Yes, hold on. So we have an Ao Yai cam because we have more Ao Yai. And then you can bring it closer to the camera so they can see the detail. Look at our friend. So it's a puppet, and because her dogs are so small, they were able to wear it. Wait, give us a little puppet show. I'm giving you music. You got it, you got it. Ooh, ooh. It's so cute. Thank you so much for bringing that. Okay, another tradition is banjung bante. So it's a rice cake that is wrapped in banana leaf. I have a video of my mom cutting one open. Let me see if I can get that to work. Oh, and the business card, not meant to be a plug, but she taped it on there, so I can, whatever. Okay. Oh, or you can use the Aoyai cam. There we go. So that is bánh. So bánh tét. They're for different regions. Vietnam, culturally, it's kind of different region to region. North, central, south. Hold on, guys. I am so lucky because Isabelle's legit a hand model. She's a model, actress, host. Truly, like on her resume, many, like OPI, right? A lot of
Beauty Blender, Pop Sugar. I almost became a Price is Right girl. True story. I was really close. I was really devastated when I got it.
I mean, honestly, I feel like you have bigger things in your destiny, so it's fine.
Thank you. I still want to be a Price is Right girl.
I mean, who doesn't? But okay, so this is, like I said, it's sticky rice. Let me see if I can get this video of my mom cutting one open. It's just like her hands. She didn't have makeup, so she refused to let me show her on camera. So that's what the inside looks like.
Oh my gosh, I love the chat.
Yeah, so that's what the inside looks like. So there, hold on, I'll play it again real quick so I can kind of explain what's in there. So like I said, the outside is banana leaf, and then inside there's some mung bean, there's sticky rice on the outside. In this case, there's some pieces of mushroom because my family is vegetarian. My mom and sister are vegan. And then traditionally, there's also fillings with like banana or pork. And there's a couple of ways to eat it. You can eat it just like that, but people often eat it with salted pickles.
I ate it with sugar. Oh, well, I didn't actually know that you can eat it with anything else. My mom just had us eat it with sugar.
So it's very plain. There's not a ton of flavor in it, and that's kind of intentional so that you can eat it with sugar or with salted pickles. My mom, she likes to grill it sometimes. Like she'll cut it, you can put it in the pan with a little oil, and it gets like a nice little crispy edge. You can always just microwave it, steam it, just heat it up. One of the reasons why this is part of the tradition, it can feed so many people. So this little block is like hella dense. How heavy?
I mean, it's heavy. I would say, okay, because I know my eBay weight here, I would say this is almost, it's like 2.5 pounds.
Wait, I have a scale. Should we weigh it? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I like this. Okay. Oh,
the weight is right.
Okay. Then let me be real for this. Okay, I would say 2.7. God, it's, you know what? I'm going to even go with 3 pounds. I'm going to say 3.25. Let's do it. Oh my God, I'm excited.
Okay. If this is a soul cycle weight, I'm going to, you think 3.2? Okay, I'm going to go with 2.7. All right. Production. Oh yeah, chat. Oh, wait, I'm going to set up a prediction thing because I think that's a new feature that we have. Let's see, how do we do this? I'm learning things. Mods, if someone can figure it out before I can, feel free to set up the predictor. I can't figure it out. Okay, just type it in the chat. We can do it, AOL style. We did pounds. Do we have to convert? She's a 3.25 guess. Mine is 2.75.
I'm nervous.
Okay, we've got bets going everywhere from 2.5 to 4 pounds. I love it. I'm making you guess without even holding it. So honestly, any guess you give is pretty stellar. Okay. Huh? Oh, I didn't do it. It's okay. People are just typing it in the chat. You got it, production? Okay. let me take a look at production's work.
Mời đại huynh. Dân, ta uống đây. Uống đi đại huynh. Mời đại huynh uống thêm chung nữa. Được. Hảo bằng hữu. Hảo bằng hữu. Cởi lớp áo
We're gonna double check the scale, make sure it's up to snuff.
bằng chung rượu cơ hàng. Chung rượu buổi tiễn đưa chưa phai được gì men nồng. Xin đa tạ với
I mean, I went with 2.75 based on just like the mass, but regardless of the weight, it's very dense. Like, you only need one slice of it and you're done.
sao ta cứ nghe còn hơi hớm đạn nguyên. Ta chỉ xin cạn vài chung nhỏ rồi lại quay về vui của bấm cài sâu.
Another problem is like, we haven't really used this scale in a long time, so not really sure.
Đại huynh,
There's like different units of measurement, so we're trying to make sure we get it right.
thì đành phải mất bản
Um,
làm sao được khi đôi bằng
I'll come to terms with my air. I got too cocky there.
tránh được mặc cảm.
all right, so it's looking like
Đại
it's probably closer to 2 pounds.
để dạy nhau chăng? Còn
No, no. Oh, 1 point something. Okay, even less than 2 pounds. What do we know?
hai lời dò
But we're calibrating. We'll cliffhanger. We'll check up on that later.
A few bites, and I'm full from it. Yeah. It's like really filling. Right. Yeah.
Just all you need is one bite. No, it's just like a slice. Oh, and let me show you what I had actually today when I visited my parents. Because I went to pick up the Alzai. Oh no, I dragged it in the wrong place. Okay. So this is. Uh-oh. Gotta rotate it. Why can't it rotate? Trying to show you a photo of my mom. Okay, so production says it's only a pound. How do I... Sorry, hold on. So that's my mom and my cousin at her restaurant in Fountain Valley. My mom's like very silly. She doesn't like that her hair is, graying, but I think it's cute. I'm like, Mom, you're so cute. But anyways, that's my mom, cousin at Olac in Orange County. And then I'll show you the food that I was having earlier today, if it will cooperate with me. What the heck is a HEIC file? Sometimes my iPhone turns this stuff into a different file. But here we go. Oh, it's massive. Okay.
Is that what people see on the screen?
Yeah,
Do that?
yeah.
Really?
I could do it in studio mode, but whatever. This is live entertainment, y'all. You get to see how it happens. Okay. Boom. Okay, we can shrink this down some more. Hold on. So this is, we got, yeah, so, actually I don't, it's supposed to be kind of similar to titsasiu, I believe, but this is actually vegan, because again, like I said, I'm vegetarian, my mom's vegan, her restaurant's vegan, so you have like a savory meat with some noodles, pickled jalapenos, some chives, bean sprouts, and lettuce. A lot of Vietnamese food is eaten with fresh herbs because it's just so plentiful there. Like, here when we go to the store and we buy like herbs, sometimes it runs you like $2 for a bundle. There it's literally like pennies.
Oh yeah, we're missing out.
Yeah, and sometimes when people go to a pho restaurant and they see stuff like the bean sprouts, all of that, they think of it as just like a side, which, yes, it's not the main part of the meal, but it's more important than I think a lot of people realize. Like, a really fresh batch of herbs like makes the dish. So then
Cilantro is my favorite.
some people think cilantro,
Yeah, they think it tastes like soap or something, or mud.
But anyways, the next time you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, if you aren't already, make sure you're using the bean sprouts, the mint, the basil, the perilla leaf, sawtooth herb. Tear it up with your hands because that really brings out the flavor for your food. All right, and then let's see. We should quickly touch on regions in Vietnam, and then we can get into the tunes. I've got, like I said, 80s new wave, pop music, and some trap. So what regions your family from, and where have you traveled and all of that, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, well, I am a Nam girl, like through and through. So I'm Southern Vietnamese. Like, so my dad is from Bến Tre, my mom is from Binh Hoa, and that's both like not too far, like maybe Binh Hoa is like right next to Saigon, but Bến Tre is maybe about 2 hours by car. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been everywhere. I like Hanoi, and Hanoi is like, it's the capital now. It's in the northern region, so everyone has a different accent there. It's like proper. It's very like British, like the British version of Vietnamese, wouldn't you say? Like, and then in the central is Hue, and they've got a whole nother thing going on. But I love Hue, by the way. Like, if you guys go to Vietnam, obviously definitely go to Saigon. It's like, that's where I ended up living for about 4 years. But like, oh, so it's now called, Ho Chi Minh City or Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. But for me, I call it Saigon because Vietnamese American, and just a very, I don't know, I don't even know if I can say it really. I get scared sometimes of saying it. Our history is a little bit tricky when it comes to the Vietnamese community here in the States. Like, you will not see the official flag of Vietnam here in the US, really. A lot of the refugees still use the flag that's like the yellow flag with the 3 red stripes. So that's the past flag. And then people use Saigon instead of Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. It's just like a way to, I don't know, how would you say that?
Describe the flags?
I don't know, I'm trying to be mindful of the history. I don't want to alienate anybody. Because people get backlash. That's why. People get a lot of political backlash for if you display like the official flag, you get backlash for that. If you display, Ho Chi Minh, you get backlash for that over here, because basically the Vietnamese people who were over here, they were refugees. And so it's like...
Well, so anyone who is Vietnamese, not anyone, but most people who are Vietnamese who are in the States right now fled the country as refugees. So for them, the new flag represents a government and people that displaced them, that took away everything they have. For my parents, I think they have softened up to it because they're like, what happened, and they're still Vietnamese. So they've been back, and I think that helped actually. It was kind of cathartic and therapeutic for them to go and just see the country like face to face. Like, it's just people, right? But for some of their friends, they will never go back. Like, they have, and I don't blame them, but they have very, very like bad feelings and a lot of traumatic memories associated with leaving the country. So my parents both grew up in the South. My dad's family is originally from the North. So even though he grew up in the South, he has a slightly different accent from my mom. And so growing up, I kind of spoke with both accents, Northern and Southern. but I'm mostly a Southern girl. Like my grandma is like that. There's this Vietnamese phrase called it's "Jay guo now jay cha guo da," which means whatever you turn your nose up at, that's what God will give you. So there, when growing up in the South, there were a lot of like jokes or like, you know, songs about teasing kids in the North. Baki gong de yo long, so it means like Northern kids, put them in a can, you know, just like little silly kids singing songs. But my grandma was like, you know, I want my kids to marry Southerners, but all three that got married someone from the North. My mom, my aunt, my uncle. There you have it. So just whatever you turn your nose up, that is what God's going to give you.
I have a funny anecdote about that. There was a Miss Vietnam, and one of her answers cracked me up, and I think she ended up winning it. But obviously, this is all in Vietnamese, and she said, they said, I don't remember what the question was, but it was alluding to the idea of like, would you rather marry a rich man or a poor man? Something like that. It was like a really shallow question. And she said, you know, well, my grandma told me that, you know, whatever you don't like, that's what you're gonna get. And she's like, so I'm with a rich man now. It was just so funny. It was just so cute and like sweet and honest. And I think she should have won the damn thing.
That's cute.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, we have a flag, not a flag, oh my gosh. We have a map, the country of Vietnam in different regions. But yeah, so northern, southern. See, I could maybe be a Price is Right girl, right?
Yes.
Look.
Love it.
You know? Okay, but yeah, so Ho Chi Minh is, AKA Saigon's down here. You want to point?
Sure.
There we go. Hand model. There we go. Got it. Do you want to take? We'll swap sides. You got it?
Okay.
Lean into it.
Wow.
Where's Ho Chi Minh?
I need a little bit of weather girl training here.
You got it. She's a professional model / actress, but
I swear I do this.
this is not a professional setup, so that's why she's not used to it. Hey. So what are the chances that there will be a rainstorm?
I would say there's a big chance.
So in Vietnam, the middle region especially often has thunderstorms. So a lot of the temples, long-lasting pagodas there, you'll see watermarks from the various times the cities have flooded. And because the wood back then were made from very special trees, it's like been able to withstand time, floods, the elements. But yeah.
Is it easier if you're over here?
No, it's all good. I just wanted to give you a little weather girl
that's
moment.
fine.
Yeah. So the flags again, if stateside here, all the refugees will use the old flag, the 3 stripes, and then the current flag is the one that you get when you type Vietnam in the emojis. So sometimes when people leave the star flag in my chat, or I don't say anything about it because it's not worth getting into every time, but like if you leave it on an Instagram comment, I'll just type in parentheses, quietly holds flag with 3 stripes.
I try not to acknowledge in a way, but still acknowledge the comment because I understand where people are coming from with it. But there is like a whole history that people just aren't as aware of.
How did your parents leave the country? Do you know?
So my dad, actually breaks my heart when I want to hear your story too, because I know you, yeah. So my dad, he was living with his grandpa, and he told me like they used to have these like bunkers, which is really just a hole in the dirt floor, and every night they would like put a mattress over it or a rug over it to sleep because you had all these like bombs and things like just people shooting and stuff. So every night that's how they would sleep, like in the dirt ground. And my dad was like, I can't do this. Like, I want to leave, you know? And he was trying to get my grandpa to go too. But my grandpa's like, no, this is my house. Like, we worked so hard for it. Like, you know, I'm going to stay here. And so my dad saved a lot of money. Like, he was fixing bikes, like motorbikes, CMI, and which eventually turned to like fixing cars. So he became a mechanic over here in the US. But he took that money and he basically got himself to escape on a boat and became a refugee in Malaysia, which is where he met my mom. But he told me, and I didn't know this until very recently when I asked, which is so important why we should have these conversations with our parents and our family, because there's a lot of stories that they don't tell us. But he said that basically the next day he had left, he had found out that my grandpa was shot, like in the doorway, basically. So he's like, had I not escaped, that would have been me too. And I was like, holy moly, like
The weight that he must feel.
yeah, like he doesn't like really share that, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, you know?
Yeah.
What about your parents? How did
So my aunts fled right as the war was happening by plane. So they're bobas brought over by airplane. I just learned that one recently. But both of my parents were boat people, refugees that left by boat. So literally there would be cargo boats that left in the dark of night, and you'd have to make arrangements, you know, because it's illegal to flee the country at this time. My dad's first attempt was unsuccessful. And when he tells this story, he laughs about it because it's just like, you know, he's survived it, so he can laugh about it. But he got captured the first time, and then it's in a rural village, and he sees like this just like iron bar along the ground. And then a bunch of people are chained to it by the ankle. And then he's like, this can't be where you're bringing me. Like, I'm a doctor. And if you're not aware, in Asian cultures, doctors are held in very high regard, with great esteem. Yeah, very much revered. So my dad's like, oh, I'm a doctor. Like, this can't be the right place. Not that he's a snob, but it's just like, I went through too much schooling for this to be where I go.
VIP, I get it. He should be in the VIP line.
And the guards are super nice. And they're like, oh, no, this is, come on in. Like, just the way you would welcome someone to a warm house. They're like, come on in. And he's like, what? And then, he was just like everybody else, chained up at the ankle to the bar in this like bamboo prison cell. So it's really kind of quite primitive, and they don't have the resources to make like fancy prison complexes or something. It's just literally a piece of metal, and everyone's linked up. And so he and my uncle were next to one another, and they're like, hey, is there water? And he said, again, the guards are really nice. They're just doing their job, which is kind of keeping people until their fate is decided. Like, are they staying there longer? Are they, going to trial? Like, whatever happens. Luckily, my family was able to bribe the guards to let him out. So he was able to try to leave again and was successful. But he was like, is there water? And they're like, oh, yeah, that river right there. And my dad had just finished studying parasites and everything in medical school. So he's like, I'm not that water? That's how I'm supposed to drink. So he drank just enough to wet his palate, and he would chew ginger. My uncle, on the other hand, was young, and he's a teenager. So he's like, I can drink. My body can handle it. And he chugged it because it's hot. And he was so sick, so sick. So moral of the story, don't just drink any fresh water out there. And also, ginger is incredibly good for your immune system and your stomach. And then once my dad was actually able to leave, he was in a refugee camp in Thailand for 6 months. And 6 months is actually considered pretty short. There were people who were there for years. And I actually have something from his time there. I'm just emotional because I literally didn't know this until today. Sorry, guys. These are happy tears. It's just nice to learn like more about my heritage. Okay, so randomly today, my dad had this out. And I remember this boombox really clearly from my childhood. It's super old. It's early 80s, like 1980. Like, you can see the tape, the duct tape on it.
Let me hold this up, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Put my prices right.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wait. We should use the Ao Yai Cam. Ao Yai Cam. There we go. It's right there. Oh, yeah. Oh. And behold, there we have a 1980s authentic radio from Thailand. So this was in his time in the refugee camp. He bought a radio with the little money he had. It was $25, he said. And he used it to listen to BBC radio and Voices of America, just to know what was happening in the world in this camp. Because in the 6 months that you're there, you get to walk outside once a week to just like a neighboring spot to get some food or something. He was like, we usually ate, stepped out just to have some instant ramen. Like, it was a little different from the food inside the camp. He's like, if you're lucky, maybe you got an egg on top. But I had no idea this was from Thailand.
That's so crazy. It's in really good condition, by the way.
Yeah, it's been I remember this from my childhood. I just didn't know. It came from his time there. Anyway, so you're learning about my family the same day that I am.
Had I feel like, and this is even just outside of just our community as well, I think a lot of people forget that parents have lived their full individual lives before having kids, So it is so important to have these conversations. I think what makes it hard is especially when you come from such a traumatic time, they don't talk about it. They're not as willing to share, and you really have to pry it open. I remember asking my mom recently, I'm like, can you tell me what your favorite toy is? She's like, why? I was like, I just want to know. She's like, I don't know. We played with ants. I was like, can you tell me a little bit more? You have to almost prompt them a little bit more. They don't volunteer information, and they just want to and I think that's why it translates to, we don't get to hear I love yous. We don't get to hear I'm proud of you. That's not something we really hear. And I think what's so conflicting is you grow up with shows like Full House and Family Matters, and you hear these families being like, I love you at the end of each episode. You're like, oh, why can't I have that? And so but I realize it's not our culture's, or it's not our community's love language at all. It's not built into it at all, especially when collectively they're still coming out of a traumatic time. Collectively as a community, they're still dealing with it. And I think only now they're starting to slowly open up because it's been enough time.
Yeah. I don't know what you know about Asian people, but at least our parents' generation, they're not necessarily known for talking about feelings. But I think my dad's story, I think one thing it did for me, I was really stressed today or the past few weeks or months even. And then just hearing that, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I even stressed about? Yeah. So anyways,
this is easy peasy.
Right. I think that's probably one of the reasons when quarantine happened, I was like, Mom, Dad, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're fine. I mean, kind of bored, wish we could see more people, but it's fine.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it's cool. There's no bombs, so it's fine. Yeah, no big deal. What about your mom? Have you asked her?
Yeah. So my mom, my grandma really thought through everything. I've talked about my grandma a few times. She's a grandma who's sweet, but actually not. Some grandmas are sweet, and mine is so, she's cheery. She'll cook you food, she'll love on you. But she's a freaking warrior. She's lived through literally 4 wars in Vietnam. So she can haggle the hell out of any street vendor. I've shared that story before in the chat. But a bangle that a vendor once told me was $30. I was like, that's wrong because it's on the ground, so it can't be worth that much, and you're a street vendor. I brought back my grandma, and they're like, it's $6. Right, but she didn't settle for $6.
Oh.
She kept haggling. She's like, I have lived through 4 wars. Take me seriously. I tell you, give me the real price. I'm from Saigon. Where are you from? She's like, what? And she starts naming every intersection she's ever lived at. And she's like, this is my granddaughter from the States. She doesn't visit me often. Don't make this hard for me. Let me buy her a gift at the fair price. And then it eventually got it down to $3.
Dang.
Do not mess with grandma. And then what's funny is as we're walking, she has a bad hip. So I'm thinking I'm going to help her walk. No. She's like, this is my turf. She's grabbing me, clutching my arm. Don't get lost. Don't let anyone rob you. Stay close to me. Yeah, that's my grandma. But so when my mom was leaving the country, my grandma thought through every possible scenario. If you look at your pants, maybe you're not wearing pants right now because it's quarantine, but there's often 2 stitches. She sewed gold, like, gold necklaces, chains, into my mom's pants so that if she was robbed of the money in her pockets, she would still have some resources on her. She also stuck like diamonds in my mom's ears, like with chewing gum, like in your little earlobe up here. Yeah, she thought of everything. She even, like a little more graphic, but just being real, she used iodine and had rubbed it on my mom's privates so that if anyone tried to attack her, it looked like she had an STD or something.
Oh my gosh, that's such a smart idea.
Yeah, my grandma really thought through everything.
Can I share about Dennis's grandma?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so my husband Dennis, he's Cambodian, and his grandma's pretty badass too, and I love this story and I share it a lot. But for them, they came. His family had to escape from the Khmer Rouge and everything. And his grandma, it was right after the war had ended, and at the time they were scared of just coming into any remaining soldiers that may either assault them or rob them, things like that. And so they came across, I think it was a Thai soldier. I don't remember who it was, but the grandma was so quick thinking. So Dennis wasn't born yet, but this was his. He was still in his mommy's belly, and then his mom had his older sister. She was a kid, so she's holding his sister, and the grandma's so quick thinking. She took all the gold, she took the gold necklace that they had, and she stuffed it in Dennis's sister's dirty diaper. And they took everything else, I think, but they still have that gold necklace to this day. She wears around her neck. It's from the poopy diaper. But gold is gold. Gold is gold. I think it just shows how resilient a lot of people are when it comes to for your family. Yeah. All
right, so now let's get into the best part of tonight, which is going to be our music. Let's get our lanterns back up here. Got Year of the Ox. Hold on, should we move the ox down just a smidge? Oops, that's the flag. Watch, it's live design with DJ Lonnie Love. We'll hit the ox here, yeah? Does he belong there? Is that a good spot for our friend? Do we even need the ox?
Cute.
I mean, I personally really like our lion dancer in the corner.
I think it's cute right there.
Okay.
Way.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, you can
Oh, yeah, you can pet him. See? All right. So, like I said, I have a bunch of Vietnamese music planned for tonight. But just to set the tone for this next little segment, we're going 80s, Viet New Wave, and it's actually Viet American. So a lot of people from my parents' generation, when they came here, or the generation that was a little bit younger, coming here in their late teens, early 20s, this was a result of their youth culture. They were really inspired, I think, took a liking to New Wave from Europe. So it's not exactly stuff that we associate with New Wave, but you'll still hear similar synths. It's just whatever. Enough talking. I'm just gonna play it.
I like your talking.
Oh, thank you.
I like hearing your stories.
But I've been a little bit chattier than I had planned.
Well, when you feel something, you feel it.
Yeah. So oh, did I just get raided again? Oh my goodness. Hold on.
Dang,
Whoa.
guys, really
Welcome, Raiders. Hey. Mad Gaves, thank you so much for the raid. Happy Lunar New Year. Chúc mừng năm mới. Thank you for bringing 89 people to the party. I'm DJ Lonnie Love, 1/3 of
Club Mesh.
And this is my friend, Miss Vietnam USA 2007.
17.
It's 2017, sorry, she's not that old. 2017. Miss Vietnam USA 2017, because she's young, she's fine.
It's fine. I'm the Year of the Ox. I'm proud of it.
I'm Year of the Ox too, so it's very fun that this is our year. All right, so we're just about to hop into some 80s new wave. So just to set the stage for the year. Let me see. What do we want to go with? Yes.
like in the DJ booth. Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do people see this? We need to show this.
Oh yeah. Oh, fruit. Explain why fruit's important.
Well, it's just good for offering, first of all, and it's plentiful, and this is what, if you have a bangta, this is what
It's
you...
where you have a Buddha. It's a big part of Lunar New Year is offering fruit on your bangta,
Yeah.
but also your guest.
To your guests, to your ancestors. You can't have parties without fruit, by the way. In Vietnam, let me tell you, in Vietnam, this is what I love about Vietnamese clubs. They have fruit out for you, okay? And they make it all nice, and they eat it with like muối ốc tâm, which is like my jam. American clubs, I think they need to get on the fruit platter thing. It's just...
Spicy salt. Explain.
Oh, muối ốc tâm is like salt chili shrimp. That's the one I like to eat, and I love to eat fruits with it. It's just so good. I know it might sound strange for other people, but I swear it's really good.